Because Rick is sort of hiding away from anything violent. Like you said, he's all or nothing.
Yeah.
And Carl is trying to be a good son and follow him there. And I think he has been impacted by this, but he also recognizes that there's an in-between, that they need to protect themselves. And so I think they did the pig thing to kind of show that Rick can't escape the violence.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a violent solution to the problem.
And Andrew Lincoln plays that scene amazingly. The look of kind of despair on his face and the way that he's covered in this disgusting blood and the grief that he's feeling during it. I'm just like, oh, this is.
Yeah. Along with the uncomfortableness of seeing
Yeah.
an animal get killed. It's just,
oh, just awful. But yeah, I think
several animals.
the Michonne Grimes dynamic in this and the way it flashes forward and opens her up a bit more is just really lovely. I enjoyed that a lot.
Yeah, and now, I mean, when do they get together? Is it at the end of this season?
No, it's a while away. It's mid-season 6.
It's not until then. Because I really feel like now the writers do have it in mind.
I think so. I felt it a lot more rewatching it. I'm like, oh, yeah, there we go.
They keep having these interactions with the three of them.
So, yeah, come on, hurry up, get together, damn it.
Are you sure? Because I mean, they're on the road together.
They end up, no, I'm absolutely certain.
You know for sure.
Because it's the episode. So
it's after they get to Alexandria then.
Yep, because we've got to get through Jesse.
Oh, that's right.
And Jesse is mid-season
unnecessary
5.
as
yep.
Renee calls her.
Yeah, I think unnecessary is around until season 6 finale. And then we have a kind of reset with Rick and Michonne, and then the next episode they meet Jesus.
That's a great episode.
Yeah.
Okay, my next one is when you care about people, hurt is part of the package.
Oh.
Which is a great line that Beth says to Michonne. Michonne's feeling bad about coming back and almost getting Carl hurt while tripping and putting people in danger. She says, when I fell on my ass, they should have just left me out there. Beth says, now that's stupid. We care about you. Well, they could have gotten hurt. When you care about people, hurt is kind of part of the package, which I think is a big message of this episode.
Yeah.
When you care about people, you step up and you take risks to protect them. And it's even a risk to care because you might lose them. Tyrese is talking to Karen, being affectionate, but then he's troubled about Zach and having died. He says it used to be we all had acquaintances, just people moving in and out of your life, no big, see them down the road sometime. Now a handful of people, and that's it. They might as well be the only people left in the world. So it seems like he's saying people are more precious now and losing them hurts more. Should have knocked on some wood right about then because he's about to lose a few more, including the one he's sitting next to. That whole scene, him singing to her, is really sweet. And I think she liked it, but she sort of rebuffs him a little bit, wanting to take it slow. Maybe she doesn't want to risk getting too attached, at least not too quickly.
Yeah,
right?
She's definitely holding back. But I mean, he's love bombing.
Yeah,
he's
really is,
into her. I'm like, fair enough.
Yeah. When Beth asked Michonne if there were any kids around when she'd come back into the prison, that stings, you can tell. And then Beth says, all these widows and orphans, but what do you call it when someone lost a child? You think someone would have given that a name. We heard that recently. Do you remember where? Ash said it, I think, on the Daryl show.
Holy shit. Yeah, he did.
Right? They're stealing stuff from this show.
Wow.
And then the whole scene with Michonne that was just beautiful and that we talked about. And that's like when you care about people, hurt as part of the package applies. Like she didn't want to let herself care again because she lost her child. And we know she ends up becoming Judith's mom.
Yeah.
So that really changed something in her there. And it was beautiful to watch. And I'd forgotten the details about Michonne losing a child. I guess we won't go into it too much because this is a long episode, but she those two pets that she had were supposed to be watching her child, and they were on drugs, and there was a zombie attack, and the kid Andre got killed. So that's why she was so mad at them, and they were zombies too, but she decided to chop off their arms and take them around with her. Then, I mean, the season is a lot about kids. Bigger community means more kids. They're vulnerable and need protection. That's another potential thing to lose if you feel connected with them. They're precious. And in this world, they need preparation. So that all of that is swirling around. And that just that woman walking by with her baby who presumably died, there's a loss right there. Yeah. So bleak. We don't even know them. And then last thing on this topic, Beth is carrying baby Judith and singing Tom Waits' I Don't Want to Grow Up. When I'm lying in bed at night, I don't want to grow up. Nothing ever seems to turn out right. I don't want to grow up. How do you move in a world of fog that's always changing things? Makes me wish I could be a dog. When I see the price that you pay, I don't want to grow up. So I think that part is about growing up means taking responsibility to take care of yourself and the people around you. And which, I mean, kids in the ZA need to take care of themselves to a greater degree. Carol's taking it upon herself to prepare these kids. But I also think growing up is about stepping up and taking care of things in general, which relates to Rick deciding to lead again. More of the lyrics of that song, I don't want my hair to fall out. I don't want to be filled with doubt. That's Rick. It might as well be a song about Rick.
Yeah, that hair, man. He's got to take care of that hair.
Losing the war.
Oh.
So anyway.
Where do you stand on Tom Waits?
I don't know a lot of Tom Waits. He's been in this show a few times, and I've liked the songs that they've picked. There are usually covers, though. I saw him also in one of the vignettes in the Coen Brothers Buster Scruggs movie, The Ballad of Buster Scruggs. He seemed pretty good in that. So I think from what I've heard, he's great. What about you?
Oh, I love Tom Waits. I had which tape of Tom Waits was it? A tape. Old.
It's been a while.
It's whatever one has Martha on it. Closing Time. My parents had that tape and I loved it. I used to listen to it all the time. He's sort of like Nick Cave and Leonard Cohen, just these really distinctive voices, and yeah, it's just
it's
so
about
good.
The poetry of it, right?
It's about the poetry of it. And Closing Time opens with a song called Old 55. My dad is a big Eagles fan, so that kind of music was always playing in our house. And yeah, if you get a chance to listen to Closing Time as an album, it's really, really good. Okay. Yeah, that's my little plug there for Tom Waits, who is still alive.
I think he is, yeah.
Still going, Wikipedia. Yeah, 75. Whoa, go you, Tom Waits. Yeah, I've always had this nice association with him in The Walking Dead as well. So yeah, it's nice to hear Emily Kinney sing again.
Yes, for sure. So good. All right, what else? Anything else?
What have I got? I think we might have covered it. I think most of my stuff is notes.
I got two more.
Go for it.
So Rick stepping back up to the plate. They're very consistent with him being always anxious about his decisions. And The Walking Dead is that kind of show, as is the Telltale Game, where sometimes there's not really a perfect answer and someone's going to suffer no matter what you do. So when you have a situation like that and a person who just tears themselves to shred over things not going well, you're going to have a really anxious, torn up guy, which is what Rick is. And I think it's good that he took a step back and made way for others to lead, at least in some sense. I mean, as you said, it was about Carl. He said to Daryl, I screwed up too many times. Those calls you got to make. I start down that road. I almost lost my boy, who he was. Whatever else this place needs, I'm here for it. But he doesn't want to lead. And Carl's trying to follow his lead with the farming and everything, but also trying to encourage him, come and help kill the zombies at the fence. And can I have my gun back? And, you know, it's not all or nothing, Dad. We can't just hide from this. It's the reality of the world. And not only that, like, not only can Rick not never be violent, that was double negative, but hopefully it made sense. But he is also a natural leader. He's strategic, he's caring, he's good-hearted. So I think he just gets pulled back into that position.
Yeah.
Daryl is trying to call him back to being a leader. Thank you for helping us in the prison, but are you going to help us figure this whole Cygnus thing out? And says, we wouldn't be here if not for you. And I just love that all of that is true, that even though Rick is imperfect, there's a lot of things that are really great about him. And people, like, if it would be one thing if nobody wanted him as leader,
Yeah.
but they do. And I just think it would be so hard in the ZA to lead with very little resources, monsters, both a human and undead kind, constantly trying to kill everyone. I look at the other leaders, they're either total assholes like Negan or Gregory, or they're the good ones like Maggie. I think all her people that she was leading when she left died because of the Reapers, right? They killed them all. I don't blame her for that. It's just a tough fucking job, in this world. So anyway,
it absolutely is.
Rick decides to jump back in and help when he takes those pigs out and lures the zombies away. Then he gives Carl his gun back and he puts his own gun belt on with his iconic Colt Python, and it's a recognition that he can't hide from the violence. He throws his farmer shirt in the fire because he's emo, and I'm like, that pacifism didn't last long.
They should have had some like My Chemical Romance playing at that point or something.
Yeah, and he should have put his head down
emo.
Like this.
I was like, hell, if I looked like Andrew Lincoln, I'd take my shirt off all the time as well. But yeah, there's a fascinating scene with the council where I realized Rick's not in the room. And obviously, we know he's not in the council, but
by choice. Yeah.
Interesting. It's Sasha, Herschel, Glenn, Carol, and Daryl. And I'm like, wow, that's actually a really cool council. Apart from Carol, who then goes off and murders people. But
I know. She's not a team player. No. But it reminds me, now that you're talking about it, of the feeling we got when Andrew Lincoln left the show, which is, there's room for other people here. And even though Rick's my favorite character, love watching him, but it felt like there was some air in the room, like, other people have a chance to bloom here, and that's good too.
Yeah, it really is. And then Rick blooms in a sort of different way, different direction. It's interesting because Carl is kind of being reasonable with him in this episode. He's like, we are going to need to shoot our guns sometimes. We are going to have to do this. And it's so funny to see that dynamic shift and Carl become a more measured person rather than a little psycho.
Yeah. And I think apparently Rick understands this isn't the same impulse that had Carl wanting to brag about just shooting a boy. This is him being a realist about what's actually needed in this moment. So I'll trust him again and give him his gun back.
Yeah.
And then I couldn't believe Carl just shot Rick right then. That was like bad move, Rick.
Right?
I should have seen that glint in his eye.
I love it.
All right. Let's see. I had one more.
Go for it.
Just about the sickness. There's this new character, Dr. S.
Yeah.
For the full name. He's talking about the zombies died from pleurisy aspiration, which is when lung pressure builds up and then like a Coke can and blood comes spurting out every orifice.
Love that.
So nice.
Love that description. 10 out of 10. Yes.
and says it's not, I said this already, not from the walkers. It's these things happened before. It could be pneumococcal, which is a bacteria, pneumonia associated with pneumonia. And anyway, yeah, I guess I already talked about that, but I was glad that they sort of answered some of our questions about that, even though apparently I'd forgotten over time, but glad to get that.
I know we've spoken a lot about the kind of rhetoric about being a black man in The Walking Dead was a death knell. I have to say, being a doctor in The Walking Dead is even
Yeah.
more of a death knell. Like, if you walk in and you're like, I'm doctor, I'm like, oh no, you're gonna die real soon. Like,
Yeah. I think the fact that Herschel was a vet was just gave him a couple extra seasons, but he still
oh, that
he was
kept him
cursed.
going. I think he got an extra season out of being like vet adjacent.
All right. Notes.
Notes. This is a good discussion because I've touched on a lot of my notes within it, which is nice. So I mentioned Angela Kang wrote this episode. Glenn and Maggie. Glenn taking that photo of Maggie is really sweet, and I realize this is the last time they're going to be together for a bit. Because after this, they're split up due to the quarantine, and then the prison is attacked before they can reunite properly.
Oh, wow.
So that's their last kind of moment of quiet intimacy before, I guess, Alexandria, really, because they're on the road before that.
Yeah, I love that moment. It felt real. Like he takes that picture and she's sleeping, but it wakes her up and it frightens her, and then they both kind of laugh about it. I almost felt like, was that real? And they just had the camera on.
Yeah.
and then she wants to throw it away, and he's like, "Not gonna happen. It's mine." And she smiles at that.
That's like goofy Glenn. I love that.
And it's just that bonding and love that they share, which makes what happens all the more harder, but also shapes Maggie's response to it and her character through the rest of the series.
It was weird because she stood up with the jacket on, and the jacket looked really like a leather jacket, and I was like, "Oh, you're dressing like Negan." I laughed that Daryl said to Rick, because Rick was saying, "I caused all these problems," and Daryl says, "When the shit hit, you were standing there with a shovel," and I was like, I think I want that on my tombstone. That is it for me, apart from IMDb and the timeline. So what have you got?
Just that Rick called Judith Judy, and I wondered if that was the only time, or
I think it's the only time we hear it, which is funny because it's like a cute little nickname. Judy.
All right, what you got? IMDb.
Not a lot this week. Walkers that turned because they died from the virus were given a different look. Special contact lenses were created the effect of hemorrhaging eyes. The song that Beth sings to Judith is, as you said, I Don't Want to Grow Up by Tom Waits, which is from his 1992 album Bone Machine. I like his title.
I wonder if he meant that in a
I'd be interested to know.
Sounds like that's the first place you were in my mind.
Bone Machine. When Mika, this one again, I don't know that this is really trivia IMDb. When Mika is trying to distract Lizzie, while Carol puts down their dad, she tells her to look at the flowers. This is foreshadowing for episode 414, The Grove, where Carol tells Lizzie the same thing to keep her distracted right before she shoots her. In the timeline, we've only gone ahead one day. We are supposedly January 27th, day 521. Judith is still around 6 months old. Interestingly, elsewhere in the zombie apocalypse, this is the day Martinez dies.
Oh.
So the governor is pushing him into a pit at some point during the course of this episode. R.I.P. Martinez.
Yeah. Yeah, there's nothing that great about him anyways.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding. I like the actor, Jose Pablo Quintillo.
He's cool. Yeah.
Only on The Walking Dead would anyone think killing sick people made them a hero.
Only only on The Walking Dead is healthy family bonding cemented by handing your son back his gun.
I'd say in the US as well.
Yeah, okay, yeah, fair.
On The Walking Dead and pretty much most places in the US.
Spot the Brit.
unexpected news.
Okay, it's all the news is about The Last of Us this time.
Amazing.
It's been because it's coming up. It's now confirmed that it will premiere sometime in April,
Yes.
season 2. The logline says 5 years after the events of the first season, Joel and Ellie are drawn into conflict with each other and a world even more dangerous and unpredictable than the one they left behind. So it doesn't say too much. But
So it's not going to be a laugh a minute buddy comedy.
yeah, switching to a comedy this season.
Damn.
There will be puns, I'm sure.
Excellent.
It'll have 7 episodes, by the way, versus
7?
I think 9 of the first season. And they said, well, this season, is the first season was based on the first game, and then this season is going to be based on the second game. But they said that the second game will span over multiple seasons, and that 7 episodes felt like the right break point in the story. That was why they said it was only 7.
Okay.
So I think season 3 may have more episodes, hopefully.
Cool. I'm into it. If they can justify it and it's not, pulling it out artificially long or cramming it together. Why not? If it tells a good story, then I trust them.
Yeah, like, don't be like the Daryl show and cram too much story into one short season and have it feel rushed. But I don't think they'll do that. Mm-hmm. Next thing, as of now, there are only 2 Last of Us games, and there's no confirmed third game yet, but there have been lots of clues and indications that it's coming. There's speculation on this website, gamingbible.com. It says, during a recent documentary about the making of The Last of Us Part 2, developer Neil Druckmann confirmed he has a plan for the third game, but that it will likely be the end of the story. Druckmann says the first game had such a clean concept of like the unconditional love a parent feels for their child. The second one, once we landed on this idea of, and I'm taking this part out because I don't want to spoil anything for people who haven't played the game.
I haven't played the game.
Yeah, so I don't spoil it for you. He says, we felt like there's a clean concept here and there's a through line from the first game about love. If we never get to do it again, this is a fine ending point. Last bite of the apple and the story's done. The great thing about working at Naughty Dog, that's the development company, is that we don't have to. It's always like, we would love another Last of Us, but if you guys feel you're passionate about something else, we'll support this other thing. Very privileged position to be in. I never take that for granted. I've just been thinking about it. Is there a concept there? And for now years, I haven't been able to find a concept, but recently that's changed. And I don't have a story, but I do have that concept that to me is as exciting as 1, as exciting as 2, is its own thing, and yet has this through line for all 3. So it does feel like there's probably one more chapter to this story.
Okay.
So I'm glad about that. I like 3s, I think it would be cool.
Yeah.
To have one more if they've got a good story. I think it's funny that he has a concept of a plan, though.
A concept. I have a concept. It's not so much a plan as a concept of a plan. You wouldn't know.
You would know. And then recently, Last of Us developer Naughty Dog announced a new game they're working on, and I think it looks really intriguing. Have you heard anything about this?
No.
They just put out a trailer. The game is called Intergalactic: The Heretic Prophet, and it's sci-fi.
Ooh.
It's this woman who I think is like a bounty hunter in her ship. And the premise on Wikipedia says, Intergalactic: The Heretic Prophet is an action-adventure game set thousands of years in the future in an alternate universe where advanced space travel existed by 1986. The bounty hunter Jordan A. Munn becomes stranded on the remote planet Semperia while searching for the Five Aces criminal syndicate. For over 600 years, Semperia has been cut off from outside contact and no one's been able to leave it. In seeking to escape, Jordan fights hostile blade-wielding robots. Wikipedia also says, according to Neil Druckmann, the story explores, quote, what happens when you put your faith in different institutions. It's centered on a fictional religion and includes science fiction elements, taking inspiration from anime like Akira and Cowboy Bebop. Tati Gabrielle plays the main character, Jordan.
Oh, she's great.
Yeah. And the trailer has her a lot in it. Druckmann considered her a standout during the casting process, comparing her audition to Ashley Johnson's for The Last of Us's Ellie. I will put a link to this trailer in the show notes. If all goes well, I'm sure at some point we'll be watching a TV show or movie version of it.
Yeah.
So I'm excited about that, them doing something different,
Ooh, I would read that book. I would read that book and I might try playing the game. So yeah.
I mean, you played The Last of Us, right?
I tried. I'm not very good at making making Joel move, not like a crab. So we're working on that.
Awesome. All right, let's move on to listener moans, groans, and grunts.
Our friend Alma Contreras says the mystery of who killed Karen and David was actually a pretty good storyline. Paul Tyrese really got a good beating from Rick. Ouch, over it. Rick really did piece everything together pretty fast, and freaking badass Carol admitting it without remorse was jaw-dropping no matter how many times I see it. The whole infected storyline hits a little different now that we've lived through a pandemic. And I got
Mhm.
one question. How did Tyrese live through that horde of zombies engulfing him? LOL, I'll just chalk it up to suspension of disbelief. All in all, this episode was and continues being terrifying. Mm-hmm.
Randy Stevenson says Carol gives Lizzie the knife she used to prevent their father from reanimating. Did she also use that knife to kill Karen and David? Here, kid, I want you to be safe and also potentially be found holding the murder weapon. I I had a small thought to tack on to the three questions conversation about how many walkers have you killed, how many people, and why. If you're keeping track of how many walkers you've killed, that's an indicator of what type of person you are. It's not a perfect analogy, but how many ants have you killed? If you said 17, I'd know taking each of those ant lives meant something to you, good or bad. I would also add if you said 5,474, then you might be taking pleasure in your sadism of killing ants or something like that. So Jason and Lucy, how many ants have you killed? And remember, if you can't answer, it's because you hate ants, and I can't allow you into my ant-themed post-apocalyptic prison paradise. Sorry.
Aw,
I've killed
Randy.
5,746.
You don't get that many ants over here. I'm going to say 2. I'm just that good of a person. Tam from Perth says, "Hi friends. So I think this might be my most disliked episode, so I only got around to the piglet sacrifice and had to turn off. You and me both, Tam. Really happy to skip, but listening to you and everyone's thoughts is enough. As previously stated, I'm a rewatch this once a year girl, so I can keep up. Really, this is just a thanks for the shout out. Totally took me by surprise. I kind of did a gasp and lost my footing and slipped right out of the bath. Oh no! When I told my daughter, she was like, "That's so funny, Mum. You're practically friends now. I guess we must be now. You all know I listen to the pod in the bath." Winky face.
That's
Oh,
amazing.
Tam, that's
a
amazing.
first.
I
Yeah,
now
I like it.
I don't want to name and shame, but did Megan Dively Lehman not send us a voicemail from the toilet once? Or
I
nearly
mean,
drop
I
a...
assume everyone listening has heard us on the toilet.
Actually, no, Megan, I'm so sorry. I'm giving you a bad name here. I believe you told us you dropped an earbud down the toilet whilst listening to us.
Oh, so she was listening over the toilet. Yeah.
It was something to do with toilets. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm
Something
saying.
with toilets,
Just let us
yeah.
know, Megan. Clear your name.
Tam, I'm just happy you did not injure yourself.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'm glad you're safe and well.
We would have felt bad about that. We would have had to add a disclaimer or something.
Yeah.
Andy Fisher says, "Dear JLou, the podcast you did for the first show in season 4 last week was the best one yet, and I love looking at season 4 a little bit differently.
Yay.
I like what you said about the main theme in The Walking Dead being how do we deal with horrible situations. In this episode, the heroes are being slammed with bad news, a sudden deadly flu, a creepy animal sadist, and the walls that protect them literally caving in. I love Beth's dialogue here with Michonne. They could have got hurt helping me." Beth says, "When you care about people, getting hurt is kind of the package." It makes me think about the idea you discussed so well in your last podcast, protecting yourself and or being vulnerable to others. All of the Walking Dead characters explore this theme this season. Yeah, totally, Andy.
Yeah, I agree with that. Megan Dively Lehman. Oh, sorry, Megan says from the
She's still
toilet.
listening.
She's not in the toilet. Can you believe that during this time, the show was pulling in ratings like 14 million viewers on this episode? Wikipedia says last week's episode was the series high at 16 million. I don't think even the most popular show would pull anything like that these days because of the fragmentation of television. Absolutely. Denai does a masterful job in the scene where she breaks down holding Judith, and I like that they came up with a somewhat realistic plot with disease transmission between animals and humans. Heck, we're living in fear of avian influenza right now, and whether that will be the next pandemic. Since we know that the antibiotics help in another episode or two, I think that means it's bacterial, not viral, on the show,
Mm.
right? I wonder how much of the next episode or two will hold up now that we are all amateur epidemiologists thanks to COVID. Stay tuned. I mean, you're not wrong, Megan. You're not wrong.
All right. Now we have a call from Carly Jackson.
Hi, Jason and Lucy. This is Carly in Santa Fe, and I wanted to respond to both episode 1 and 2 of season 4. I mean, the thing that I always remember is how homey the prison looks. Like they've got their nice curtains over their door to add privacy, and
Yeah.
pumping water into the bathrooms, and the the growing food, and having a horse barn and the pigs. And I love that stuff. I kind of wish The Walking Dead had gone more in that direction, more regularly. I like what it looks like to rebuild without modern infrastructure and modern technology. I love that stuff, but I've had to.
You kind of see it, even though they don't dwell on it. I think you kind of see it everywhere they go, at Alexandria with the windmill and the solar panels and farming and all that kind of stuff. But they just build it in the background and don't talk about it a lot, I think.
I loved the curtains as well. That moment when you hear, Patrick's killing this guy and you see the curtains and they just look so beautiful and peaceful. And yeah, no.
That's not what The Walking Dead is about. So, but it makes it all the more heartbreaking when stuff goes wrong. Like the feeling of safety that the prison provides, and security of like growing your own food, and then the wreckage that just one sick person who dies can bring to one area of the prison. I mean, I can't. It's so astounding how just like one zombie just destroys so many people.
Yeah.
And then also in episode 2, it always breaks my heart when Rick has to sacrifice his pigs. I mean, on the one hand, they may have been sick already and they would not have been good for food. But on the other hand, like, it's like having to admit defeat, that you thought you were preparing for a future and then you have to sacrifice it for an immediate need. And it's so devastating. And then the other thing I hadn't really paid attention to in previous watches, but Rick's genuine fear, or is it post-traumatic stress of he can't even just pick up a gun, because that will lead him down a path that will turn himself and his son into a violent maniac. Like just in the second episode, he's fighting Daryl. He's like, I can't go down that path. He can't even sit in on a council meeting because that will lead him down a path. It's like an addict, right? Someone, like one drop of alcohol could send an alcoholic into a whole spiral of destruction. And I think that's really interesting. And I hadn't paid attention to that before, so I'm going to be paying attention to that in the next few episodes. I mean, he kind of accepts responsibility at the end of episode 2, giving Carl and himself weapons again. And I want to see more evidence of that fear, that terror of like turning into a monster. Anyway, glad to be back on the rewatch. Don't get bit.
Glad you're back, Carly.
Amazing, Carly. So good to hear from you.
I'm thinking about what you're saying about Rick. See, I sort of read it that he didn't want to do anything because he feels like he's made bad decisions and gotten people hurt. But then again, part of, like we said, the main thing is he saw Carl was sort of losing his humanity.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it is about the fear of losing your humanity to the cruelty of the world and everything like that. So it's all mixed in together, maybe.
It seems to be.
Okay, next is Chandra Wright, who says, just finished listening to this episode of the podcast. Karen Shee, you added some great insights and perspectives. The discussion you guys had about solitude versus community made me think of the future episode where Jadis leaves for what we one day learn is the CRM. She writes Gabriel a note saying, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go with others. We see this evolution happen over the course of the show as characters, communities, and the world itself advance through the apocalypse. The early years were pure learning and survival. Having a small, lean, agile crew was the best defense. How many times did we see examples of large camps, even military installations that had been totally wiped out? As needs changed, it became more and more beneficial to slow down, build relationships, develop alliances and communities to ensure long-term survival. Short bouts of isolation seem to prove restorative. It's the long periods of total isolation that unravel people. Maybe the danger is in recognizing that tipping point for yourself. As always, I enjoyed listening to the cast. It's always given me something to think about in a different way than I have before. Thanks, Chandra.
Love that.
That got me thinking about how, I've said all throughout The Walking Dead that I like how it's a series about the fall of civilization. And then at the end with the Commonwealth, they came back to civilization. And then there were questions about whether you'd even want to go back to that big of a thing and have all the classism and wealth disparity. And what this made me think of, Chandra's message here, is that also in that big of a city, if you can call the Commonwealth a city, people, and in our world too, you can feel more isolated than you do in a smaller community.
Yeah.
You're in your little role in your day-to-day grind and people feel lonely. Whereas if you're in like a little small town or something, then there's more of a group vibe, like we're all in this together vibe.
It's much more pronounced sometimes to be alone in a crowd than to be alone,
Yeah.
All right. Jennifer McGinley says, I'm ahead in my rewatch, but stopped by to tell you I just found out Dr. S's real name, Dr. Caleb Subramanian. That's quite interesting, isn't it? No wonder they called him Dr. S. These episodes are great, apart from conversations between Beth and Maggie from outside and inside. Is that this episode? I think that's a couple ahead. We all got jobs to do. We don't get to cry anymore. Shut the fuck up, Beth. Oh no, STFU, Beth. And by STFU, I definitely don't mean start singing again. Oh my god, I wonder who killed Karen and Thingamabob. Must have been Mad Lizzie, eh? Seeing as she feeds rats to Zeds. Yeah, it was Lizzie, I think. It was Lizzie. I think this is the one where it's all mayhem inside the prison, and Daryl, never looking better, scoops that wee kid up out of harm's way. Aww. Remember they tried to make us think Patrick gave Daryl the virus, asking to shake his hand last episode, and there was a big deal of Daryl licking his fingers before going in for the hand. Good to rewatch and not be terrified that Daryl Dixon was going to get ill. Also, Daryl licked his fingers. Yeah, I know. It was last episode, but I wasn't around. Iconic leg trembling Daryl shot. Schwing! I mean, no notes. 10 out of 10.
No, yeah, I'd be disappointed if you hadn't sent that in because it was one episode late.
I did think when he scooped the kid
Never let
up,
that
I
stop
was
you.
like, yeah, this is people like this.
Yeah.
I don't hate
Hero.
it myself, but people really like this. Like,
Billy Thompson says, hello. First of all, I just want to say Karen had some great things to say on the last podcast, how she went into depth about topics in the episode and the season in general. I found it really interesting. So thank you, Karen. Tyrese singing at the start of the episode was something I totally forgot about. A lot less awkward than Daryl singing, I think. Tyrese wins in a sing-off. Yeah, he's got it going on.
Oh, yeah.
Of course, no one beats Beth. I remember when first seeing this episode, I couldn't make up my mind, and I still can't make up my mind now, knowing Lizzie's arc, if Carol should have let Lizzie prevent her father from coming back. I think if I was in the same situation in the ZA and the child asked, I might let them, depending on the age of the child. But then this raises another question. How old should a child be during a ZA to be allowed to prevent someone from coming back if they don't need to be the ones to do it? I love that The Walking Dead brings out these debates in me because nothing is really black and white. I would let my older son do it because I think it's a skill that you might need practice at because you might have to do it. So, and I think he's the kind of kid that I would trust to be able to do it.
The low-key narrative you have where Bodhi is a bit of a Raj badge really makes me laugh. It's like, yeah, I'd give Nico a gun. I wouldn't give Bodhi a gun.
Yeah. He's more of a Lizzie,
Yeah, you're like
he's younger too. He's going to turn 8 in like a week here.
Oh well, you can get a gun then, right? No,
Yeah,
don't put that in.
I
Oh my
ordered
god,
it off Amazon. No, I'm just kidding.
Excellent.
What did I order him? He wants an electric toothbrush, so I got him a Spider-Man electric toothbrush.
That's a very wholesome present.
He's gonna love it. You guys were talking about how Carl has come back from what he's done, and this is really evident in this episode. He seems really upset when explaining to Rick that he had to use a gun. The scene where Michonne gives in and cuddles Judith hits completely different now, knowing how they turn out. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it adds to it. We get a shirtless Rick in the end of the episode. I can't wait for Renee's reaction. Anyway, thanks guys. Bye. We don't have a call from Renee, and I think that's my fault because I accidentally put up the post too late. But I'm sure.
Or Renee was so enchanted that she keeled over and has yet to emerge.
Wordless, speechless.
Andrea Abarca says, "Oh, you missed the end, Jason."
I said bye.
Oh, did you? Did you say bye? Mm-hmm. Andrea Barker says, "Hi, Jason and Lucy. You cannot imagine my excitement when I saw that my favorite dynamic duo was back. Yay! Happy 2025. I think I can still say that 2 weeks in. I was so excited, I might have done a little dance. So, since I didn't get to write in for last week's, I hope it's okay if I make some comments. Season 4 is one of my favorite seasons as well. To start, I love Daryl, the way Renee loves Rick, and in this season, Daryl was particularly, well, hot. But I also love his playful banter, especially with Carol. It's nice to see the character have playful moments, and I remember thinking that the first time I saw it. The store was just badass. The zombies, the action. I think it's one of my favourite scenes in the whole series. The Irish zombie lady also creeped me out. I am in complete agreement with everyone. As for this week's episode, Infected, also a great one. Oddly enough, I remember doing a rewatch of this episode during COVID and thinking, well, how scary is that? But the attack from within was so well done, starting with Patrick and moving on to the others, just when they thought they were safe. I feel like all the characters are so rich and deep in these episodes, and I'm looking forward to Herschel's shining moment. Anyway, just really happy to be back with this community. Love you guys. Love you too, Andrea.
Thanks, Andrea.
Thank you. That was a really nice message.
All right, and one more call, and it's from Robin Springer.
Wait.
Hey, y'all. It's me, Robin. I almost said bonjour, mes amis, because it's been such a long time since I managed to make the deadline. I missed it last week. It was so interesting to watch these 2 episodes through the lens of our post-COVID raised consciousness. When everybody was doing all the things that we knew to do all along, but never did or didn't take too terribly seriously. I'm watching it and I'm thinking, oh my God, Daryl licks his fingers and then shakes Patrick's hand, who was probably more contagious then than he had been at any other time, right before he came down with it. But, of course, nobody knew. And then Patrick exposing all the kids at story time. Thankfully, he didn't yak all over everyone. And then in the shower, reeling around in there after he was sick and he's spitting and he's doing all this stuff. And then Karen goes in and she's in there, touching everything. Karen and Tyrese are, down by the fence and they're kissing and she's got Walker blood all over her chest and, face and they're just, kissing and the Walkers are there. Rick comes out and, after everything happens in the cell block with, the outbreak of sickness and the Walkers killing everyone, and says to Carl, stay back. Carl takes 2 steps back. Then later on, they're in the pigsty. Carl wants to go and Rick says, no, not this time. And then 2 minutes later, they're right next to each other talking about, Carol and her teaching the kids how to kill and how to use knives. Daryl's down there digging graves. He took Herschel's advice and, was wearing gloves and a mask, but as soon as Rick comes around, he pulls his mask down. Of course, I don't think a bandana really qualifies as a mask, but he's cool. He's got to be cool. Then Rick's on the back of the truck with these pigs, which I think probably what they have is swine flu, which is zoonotic and jumps from, pigs to humans pretty easily. He's getting pig blood all over himself. It's one thing right after the other. I just kept going, oh my God, but I don't think Rick actually even gets sick, does he? I think everybody else does, but I don't think he does. And I don't think Michonne does either. And her scene with Judith, oh my God, no matter how many times I see that, when she cries, it's just, oh, it's too much. But, then there's Tyrese being such a whiny little bitch. Oh, I don't like to kill the walkers on the fence. Okay, go out and kill the walkers. He comes back. Oh, I don't really like to kill the walkers out there either. Karen's sitting on his lap and they're making out and everything. And he's just like, oh, I don't know what to do. She doesn't strike me as the kind of girl that would really dig that. But, whatever. They seem to be in love. Well, oh well. And then there's an interesting little foreshadowing that happens. That, of course, the first time you see it, you don't think about it because you don't know. But when Carol and Mika and Lizzie are down by the fence, and she's talking to the girls, talking to Lizzie about how, the walkers are not humans. They're not friends. She picks a flower, a little yellow flower, and tucks it behind Lizzie's ear, which is kind of, as you get to know more about it and you see it again, you realize, oh my goodness, that's a big foreshadowing. Also, here's the other thing. Do we know at that point that Rick grew up on a farm? Because if he did, he was raised right and was very, very polite to Herschel when Herschel was telling him about how when you break off the stalks of the tomato plant, you can put it in the ground and the little hairs will make roots, which I grew up on a farm, so I knew that. So I'm guessing that Rick was just being nice to him because he should have known that. But anyway, nothing insightful to say about the Irish lady. Just like I say, I was watching it through this really weird COVID lens. But anyway, we'll talk again soon. Hopefully I'll make the cutoff again. Happy New Year to all of you. 2025 is going to be our year.
Happy New Year.
Think so. Talk to you soon. Bye.
Interesting about Tyrese being this sensitive type who doesn't want to kill the zombies. I actually think it's really interesting to have a character like that.
Yeah.
For one thing, just because it's different, Not everyone is just a gung-ho badass. I agree. I do understand where Robin's coming from. Like, come on, we need you to step up and do what needs to be done here. But I just think it's interesting to have a character like that. And in his case in particular, I know there's that scene, and my memory's hazy on all the details, but they wanted to honor the scene in the comic where he just took out a horde of Zeds with a hammer, right?
Yeah.
And that's coming up, and I remember it being really emotional. And so my armchair psychology read on him is that he knows he has this capacity for like just power and rage and violence, but maybe he's like trying to keep it underneath.
He's holding it back.
Yeah, something like that.
I have one of my cats I always think of as being a bit like Tyrese. He's like this he's like a big guy, and I think he could be a good hunter and a good killer if he wanted to be, but he doesn't want to be. He just wants to shoot himself. He just wants to kind of look at me and be like, oh, I don't want to go outside.
You're a predator, come on.
Literally, I let him go outside and he runs back in like, I don't like it outside. And I'm like, okay. So
all right. Good thing I'm here to take care of you.
Right?
All right, that is our show, episode 619. Thanks, everybody, for listening. Appreciate you guys.
Yeah.
Next episode, Walking Dead, Season 4, Episode 3, Isolation.
Woo. If you want to write in or leave us a voice message about it, you can find all our contact information at podcastica.com.
And while you're there, please check out our other podcasts. We're going strong with Squid Game Cast. That's the one that's most on my mind lately.
I listened to the Yellow Jackets WTF breakdown of the season trailer. Yeah. It was fun to spend some time with those ladies again.
I forgot about that one because I didn't want to listen because I don't want to watch the trailer.
I was like, Jason will be on this one because he won't have watched the trailer. It was
but,
great.
I've heard some good compliments about it, so I'm glad you enjoyed it too. And I am excited for that show to come back. For anybody who follows all of our stuff, there's a few shows coming right at the same time. There's Yellow Jackets, the last 5 of Cobra Kai, the series finale, and White Lotus, Welcome to the White Lotus. And also we'll be doing the rewatch still and moving into The Last of Us. So I've realized I can't do 4 at once. So I'm going to stay off of Yellow Jackets for at least half of it until some time frees up and then come in at the end. But it'll just be fun to be a fan. But anyway, whatever. I'm excited to have all those shows coming back. And the White Lotus especially, that's going to be me and Randy and Jenny again.
Oh, I can't wait.
Yeah.
It's going to be great.
It's going to be really fun. In Thailand, the third season's in Thailand.
Wonderful.
This episode's made possible by Patreon supporters like Ginger Morris, who've pledged their support at patreon.com/Jason Kabassi. So thank you so much to Ginger. You get ad-free episodes of all these, as does anyone who pledges any amount. And you get little perks and things. And I'm about to interview Madeline Joe, who is an artist up in Seattle or Portland. I forget which. I think Seattle. And I'm so curious about the work that she does, and just talking to her about all that. So yeah, we do those listener chit chats every once in a while just to get to know the listeners a little bit better.
Oh my god, you should interview me sometime. I don't actually know. You interview me every week. So
well, we never talk about your personal life.